States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Comita?
Present.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Janik?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Paul?
Present.
Councilor Perry?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos is absent.
Okay, thank you. At this point, before we get to the public hearing, as chair, I'd like to entertain a motion pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246-6B to amend the agenda for discussion purposes only and add an update from the town administrator related to Crandall Road and the PFAS levels in private wells. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by several. I'm told that we need to do a roll call vote, so Councilor Comito.
Yes.
Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Janik.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Councilor Paul.
Yes.
Councilor Perry. All right. Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. As most of you are now aware, we have been dealing with an issue on Crandall Road regarding contamination with PFAS. Just so the record is clear, this started sometime in May, where DEM came in with the Department of Health to test the well at the Victory Church located on Crandall Road to be a true Tivertonian, the old golden dream, the old brand tells, because that is a public water source. So they are required to test their well as a church routinely. They tested the well and the PFAS levels came back elevated. From that point forward, DEM started going out and notifying residents in that area to get their wells tested. It was not until that the planning department was approached by residents who were receiving those results back in the mail from DEM. The time frame of that was late June. My office did not have an official conversation with the DEM or the Rhode Island Department of Health until July 1st, and that was based on our reaching out to DEM. Now, I know in speaking with several of you and also speaking with several residents, and I have put this forward to DEM, that they are blaming the fire department, that they are saying that there's going to be a water system installed. None of that has been confirmed at this time. We've had routine conversations moving forward with DEM and the Rhode Island Department of Health. So what are we doing moving forward? And I can assure the folks that I've spoken with, and I will definitely speak for this council, that we are taking this issue extraordinarily seriously. We are working in partnership with North Tiverton Water, the Department of Health, and DEM. As was stated in the press release that was released as far as a joint press release by DEM, the Rhode Island Department of Health, and my office, it is imperative that any residents in the area prescribed in that press release call DEM for a no-cost water test. It will test for PFAS. A reminder to everyone who has their water tested, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get the results back. So unfortunately, we are running up to 30 days behind to get these results. So in the interim, what we're doing, I spoke with the fire chief today and also the Rhode Island Department of Health. We are going to create a public water source at Station 3 with an outside spigot, with a water filter, and any resident that is impacted can come and fill buckets, can fill containers of drinking water for free. Also, as part of this, the state is issuing or allowing people to get no-cost water filtration systems. They're running anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks behind. We are starting to get the permits today. I have authorized with the building department to expedite all those permits so we can get those water filtrations installed as soon as possible. In the event anyone has any questions, my office is always available. My email is online. My cell phone is 401-255-3698. If any resident has any questions regarding this, call me directly, and I will do my best to answer them and give them the factual information that they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? Councilor Janik.
So what about the residents who live outside of that area that's defined?
So as part of the press release, anything that is below 20 parts per trillion, which is what they're testing for, they're safe. Anyone who is on a public water system like North Tiverton Water, they're safe. So what DEM is now trying to do with, and I'll remind everybody and the council, They employ a private contracting service to do all this. So my disappointment with DEM, and given my experience in my prior profession, if anyone or any state agency or any federal agency was coming into our community, whether it be the state police, the FBI, or anyone else, they'd give us a heads up. DEM did not do that. This was something that there was a lot of rumor. There was a lot of confusion. I spoke to several residents who received door hangers to call DEM. When I get a door hanger on my door, it's because somebody wants to sell me windows. So I can understand how that was ignored. So do I think that the ball was dropped? Yes, I do. But with that being said, I'm of the position that we can waste time blaming people. These are our residents. We know the problem now, and I want to move forward to correct this problem with all of the stakeholders so we can get this done. So with that being said, anyone who is outside that impacted area should have been notified by DEM. Again, if there's any questions, as part of the press release, call DEM, but also you can call my office, and as soon as we get those results in, and they're going to go right to the resident, so they're not even going to come to the town, because this is all being supported and conducted by DEM. So questions specific to levels should be directed to DEM. If they don't get a response, please call my office.
Councilor Camino?
Yeah. So over the weekend, I've talked to several constituents that I actually reached out to. I did not receive any phone calls, but I reached out because of our wonderful Facebook internet news that we get and the rumors and all the stuff. So I really appreciate the update. The update probably answers a lot of my questions. One, I think one of the biggest ones that we could do as a town, and you've already handled that, is to set up some type of drinking water for them, whether it was bottled water or this program we're going to have at the fire station. I think that's what's really needed at this point. I am also disappointed in the information that I received from DEM, or the lack of information on them actually notifying the town. And I'm not trying to backpedal here, but I think facts are facts, and I think if anybody knows me, I try to make my decision on facts. And I feel like the DEM let us down as a town, not getting the full information out. And I still believe them just putting a blanket and saying it's the fire station and blaming this on the fire station. A lot of you know my history in the town with the fire department. I just don't see it being us being careless and dumping foam on the ground. I don't see that happening. There's yet been any evidence of them coming to that fire station, soil samples, or we had a well there, testing our well that was there. That still hasn't happened by the DEM. There's parts of South Tiverton, way down South Tiverton, off of East Road, that received letters from the DEM to test for PFAS. So it's not only that one area, which is probably the highest hit area, I think, with testing numbers by the fire station area. But residents also in the southern part of town have also received letters on getting their wells checked for the same PFAS, right? So it's not just that one area. So I don't know how DEM, I still don't know how they've come up with this criteria to check these certain areas of town. But I just don't think we're getting 100% of the story from the DEM. And for them just to make a phone call to a resident and say, hey, don't drink the water because of the fire station, I think is 100% wrong. And I think the town should have been notified that they were coming in to do this. But I hope from here forward, we're taking the corrective steps to support our residents and move forward, and it sounds like we are. So if I get any more updates, I think I've been sharing them with the administrator. We've been on a weekly basis talking about this since we've been trying to gather information. But I appreciate the update, and it has a lot of my answers. A lot of answers. You answered a lot of my questions. Thanks just on that little.
I will add for the just for the council and for the community as well. I've been in touch with the director of DEM. I kind of expressed our disappointment in the way that this information was handled. He's going to consult with his team and get back to me. Also, I've asked him to do a community meeting locally, hopefully in the next month or 30 days, so he can come in with his team and talk about exactly what PFAS is, what their approach in handling this is, who their contact information is, because I know they've done this in other communities.
Which is a great point, because I've been asked that over the weekend, if something like that could take effect for the community to come in and have a discussion with all this stuff. And just one last thing that I want to say is, this council, a lot of rumors on Facebook going around saying this council doesn't care about the people in the drinking wells, and because it's not public water. Those statements just aren't true, right? So I can't speak for the entire council, but I think I know everybody up here well enough that I think all 7 of us care about what happens to the people in town. So, the Facebook sometimes isn't just good information. It's rumors, it's not facts. So I just want to let everybody out there know that these people up here do care about what's going on in town, so I just needed to get that out there, too.
Every single one of you have reached out to me with the concern about this. So, and I've passed on that information. Obviously, we all agreed upon that this would be the form that we'd give it out to the public. I'll make one last point, if I may. I know, and I can't speak for North Tiverton Water, but they have been part of the conversations along with both of our solicitors since we had the initial conversation virtually with DEM and continuing on with the Department of Health. But there is grant funding, EPA, federal funding, and state funding to support not only the purchase of water filtration systems, but the possibility, again, not speaking for North Tiverton Water, about extending that water line. But I also heard the rumors, to overuse that term tonight, from residents who were being promised that this was going to happen. Obviously, as we know, we do not control the respective water departments in our community, so that was part of correcting the record with the representatives of DEM so they can get their message straight. Unfortunately, it seems like whomever was answering the phone when our residents would call, they got one, depending on who would answer the phone at DEM, unfortunately. But the people that we're dealing with are the people who are in charge of this situation, and they've assured us that they make no determination of cause, that they've made no promises to residents, but also we know how that works as well, because our residents are scared, and they want factual information, and it's our job to provide them with factual information. So which is why, between all of you and your respective constituents and my office, if we don't know the answer, we will get it. But that's the information and the facts that we want to put out to the community about this issue.
Councilor Perry.
I just want to know if there's a number that people could reach out to, if we have it right now for DEM, so we could...
So as part of the press release, it is Kirsten Dunn at DEM, but the phone number, sir, is 401-537-4357. I'll repeat it, 401-537-4357.
And I'd just like to make one small comment. I happened to be speaking to someone in Fall River today, and when we were talking about contaminated wells in Tiverton, and we should be concerned about our own town. But during that conversation, he happened to mention that all of a sudden they're finding contaminated wells in Westport also. These veins run God knows where, but all of a sudden there's been a lot of contaminated wells in Westport. So we're concerned about Tiverton. We're not concerned about Westport. But it's just coincidentally that all of a sudden there's a lot of contaminated wells in Westport.
And if I may, sir, because of the proximity to Saudy Pond and the Watuppa, we've been assured by DEM that they are in touch with their counterparts on the Massachusetts side as well.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Perry, I think on that aspect of what you're saying is, I believe like the DEM got a lot of grant money to start testing for this stuff. So I think across the state of Rhode Island, they decided that they were going to start testing everywhere.
And they should.
Exactly, and as should our own residents should be testing our own person. Even if we're outside that area, we should all test our own wells. I'm in the process of doing my own too, but I think that's why this is coming up, is that the DEM decided they got some grant money to start doing these tests, and they're actually doing it across the state. So it's not, I don't know how they're picking the areas to do it. That would be interesting to find out, and I hope the administrator is going to find that out. It was one of my questions, but like, how are they targeting certain areas, right? So I think they're just starting all these areas around the fire stations across Rhode Island.
They are.
Yes.
You're right.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Yeah,
Councilor Paul.
Councilor Janik got my question. Thank you. Councilor Comito couldn't have said it any better. It was disheartening. I did spend a bulk of the weekend as well, and I believe my wife can attest to that, which I'm not complaining at all, but we care. I tried to answer questions, and I tried to reassure people that, we found out about this, as the administrator said, and we were told DEM was taking the ball and running with it. The communication doesn't seem to have been fantastic on their end, but this council, again, to use Councilor Comito's words, I think I can safely speak for the rest of us. We absolutely care, and to say that this council doesn't care is nonsense, to be honest with you. This is a serious and concerning issue, and the administrator couldn't have said it any better, and hopefully the communication from DEM gets better. So.
Okay. I'll just take this last opportunity before we move on to the purpose that we're all here for, and say that same as the rest of the council. The only difference is I did spend some time this weekend. I went directly to the DEM director to express, put it lightly, our frustration with the process. From where I sit, on the backs of miscommunication issues from DEM related to Chase Marina, now miscommunication issues here, it seems very likely, to quote Councilor Burke from a prior meeting, that no agency is perfect. So the next step here, at least from my perspective, is I reached out to our state representative, who was also kept in the dark by DEM, which is highly unlikely. Typically, if there's an agency coming into, at least the state rep's territory, they would be notified, and the state rep was not. So he's actually contacted the governor, and now we're going to get the governor's office involved, because this is clearly a major issue from DEM, and they're just not doing things the right way. So I'm glad to hear that the administrator and our solicitors have made contact with them and are going to have regular communications so we can help get the word out. But it's not just going to stop, at least from my perspective here. There needs to be some consequences on the DEM side too. So, Mr. Janik, are you here to talk about the charter?
No. I have a question regarding this topic.
By all means, if you just turn on your microphone, sir. And name and address, I guess, for the record.
Mike Janik, 374 Judson Street. Craig, Councilor Comito mentioned that the fire department, the well, has that been tested?
Not at this time, but we've spoken to DEM to test not only that well, but the East Road Fire Station well, so it's in progress, sir.
Yeah, you guys have said a lot of wonderful things here. I think you're taking the positive and proper tact on this, but I ask, my point is that well probably should have been one of the first things we requested for that reason.
I think because the well, because the well's closed, there's no spigot. So what we need to do is open it and then get down there and get a sample. So that's been the delay.
Sorry, I didn't clarify that. We, going back some years ago now, because we were having well issues with the pump itself, we were fortunate enough with some past public works directors, the North Tiverton Water, they extended the water line down to the fire station. For two reasons. One, we were having well pump problems, kept burning out well pumps, and two was on that side of town, we were coming back from calls, it was a little difficult to fill our trucks off the well water, so they ran the water line so we could fill our trucks in the station at night. So my bad for not mentioning that the well has been out of service for quite some time. But like the administrator said, I also asked that maybe uncap it, manually pull some water out of there and test it, and just to see where we're at with the levels.
Only because it hadn't been mentioned. I just wanted to ask and clarify that. Thank you,
sir.
All right, thank you. All right. At this time, I'd like to move on to the main event here, the public hearing. I think the easiest way, Mr. Solicitor, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll public hearing for each one, and then council decisions, and then move on to the next. Does that work for you, sir?
You're talking about doing the charter amendments first, one by one?
One by one, so public hearing for each. So if somebody wants to speak on Article 2 elections, they can come up and speak first. Okay. All right, so...
Mr. President, one question on that. Would it not make sense if somebody wants to speak on multiple ones for them to do that at the same time?
Fair point. Anybody here want to speak on multiple of these? I know Mr. Englert said Section 401, which would be the second one. All right, seems like that method will work.
Can I just ask another question?
Yes.
So there's like, what, 15 are we trying, or is there a limit to a number that we want to put on a ballot, or are we trying to get all 15 on the, I just want to know the process a little bit, right? So prioritize what's important to me, like, are we trying to get all 15? I know we have said in the past that if you stop putting too many things on the ballot, it gets confusing, and people aren't going to sit there and read the whole thing, so are we, I don't know how the process works. Are we trying to cut to a number, or are we trying to get all 15 on a ballot? I don't know. I'm just,
Madam Clerk, you're the one who has to put this information
does that
out.
make sense? I'm just asking.
Well, to answer that question, we'd have to know what the state has for ballot questions. So they could take up a lot of print space on the ballot, and it would push our charter amendments, proposed charter amendments, to a second page. There's no way to know that until we get closer and we provide the information to the state. So I don't know, like, you can't even number your ballot questions because they follow the state ballot questions. So you got your elected officials, then you have the state ballot questions, and then the local ballot questions. So I can't say whether it's going to be on a two-sided ballot or go to a second page. I don't know.
Councilor Janik.
The state typically will issue something with all of these different ballot items and explain them, and I think we've done that in the past, have we?
We have, yes.
So that a yes vote means this, and so that people can go through it prior to the election, so you're not reading it at the polls. And I know I would mock mine up, yes, no, however. So if I'm not a fan of having a lot on it either. I think it's just too much sometimes.
Right. And we plan on, as a town, do we plan on putting these out, like a sample type thing before? We talked about it, right?
Yeah, we talked about a voter information guide.
Yeah.
And I gave you some samples from the last charter amendment.
We're still going to go forward with that, I assume.
That's a decision of the council, so once...
I think we should.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Helps me with my decision process.
All right, there you go. So let's take the first one, Article 2, Elections, Section 204, Transfer of Town Land. Mr. Solicitor, anything you'd like to add? Otherwise, I'd like to open up a public hearing on this item.
I think it's self-explanatory.
Okay. Any member of the public like to speak on Article 2, Section 204? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on that. Do we want to wait till the end, councilors, to...
Just have it going.
All right, as we go.
Right?
All right, any...
Make a motion to put the transfer of land charter proposal on the ballot.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilor Janik.
Just to explain to people, this is town property that we are not allowed to sell unless it goes on the ballot. So there are some very tiny little pieces of property that are adjacent to other properties, and people are interested in purchasing them from us and put them on the tax rolls, but we cannot do that without putting that on the ballot. So this would eliminate that requirement, correct?
Unless it's designated as open space, recreation, or conservation.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just,
Yes,
are you voting on the proposed charter amendment or the ballot question for that charter amendment, or both?
Right. To keep it clean, I think the best thing is to just do the charter amendments first, and then we can talk about the ballot. Okay. Or if you want to do the charter amendment and then the ballot question, following that, we can do that.
What's the preference of the council?
So I was looking at the ballot questions, but I'm happy to set that one aside and do the charter amendment first, the actual language, I mean, first?
Right. We need to do the charter amendment first, I think, so you can be informed as to what the ballot question should be, as well as
So I'm going to withdraw that motion.
Okay.
And make a motion to approve the language before us that had been in a different meeting related to the transfer of town land in Section 204, which does exactly what Councilor Janik just noted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Next item is Article 4, Town Council, Section 401.
Excuse me, did you want to talk about the ballot question now, or go to the
Yeah, I
next
wasn't sure
charter?
what you were suggesting, so
Okay.
now I'll make a motion
There
to
we go.
approve the ballot question on Article 2, Section 204, to put on the November election ballot.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Counselor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, now we can go on to Article 4, Town Council, Section 401. At this point, we'll open up the public hearing. Mr. Englert, just name and address for the record, please.
Okay, thank you. Yep, Christopher Englert, 30 Carpenter Street. Yeah, with 401, the concern that I have is that, you know, with an election cycle, that is when the citizens have their chance to voice their concerns and, you know, vote for their representation. So I do see the concern that there's a staggered term, but then we're also throwing in the 4-year term. So if there could be extra effort, maybe to look at how we could stagger, I agree with the staggering, but to go to a 4-year term, doubling what your term is now, doubling the length that anyone could provide feedback on your, you know, to vote again. Our household doesn't agree with that. Why would you double the time that, you know? And then it falls into the others that are coming, but I'm just a little bit disappointed in that. So I would be more concerned that it's staggered than that you get 4 years. Thank you.
Mr. Englert, if you wouldn't, I just have a quick question, because you said you're in favor of the staggered. How would you propose that we take a 2-year term and make it staggered if the elections are only every 2 years?
I guess there would have to, maybe 1 year could be a 4-year, like, lottery. So like half is on a 4-year for 1 term, and then it goes back to 2, or maybe a 1 year in there. But that would be up for you to figure out and propose back to us.
Any other members of the public like to speak on this charter amendment? Come on up. Who's first?
Mr. President, can I just interrupt for 1 second? Can we just have a blanket motion as to all of these charter amendments and ballot questions? Non-substantive technical changes can be done by staff after the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion been made and seconded by several. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
I meant to mention that, but good catch. Mr. Janik.
Michael Janik, 374 Judson Street, and speaking as the chair of the Charter Review Commission, just to give you a little background, Chris, on how this proposal came about. Part of it was to bring it in line with other election roles within the town, including the school committee and the budget committee, which are 4-year terms. And the way that we decided on the staggered aspect was that we didn't want a complete whole turnover of the town council at one time, so we staggered them with 4 and 3. I understand what you're saying. If you have somebody in there for 4 years, that's 4 years of that individual. But there are other methods to address an individual if they're non-performing in their role or anything along that line. But the purpose of making the town council 4-year terms is so we didn't have the potential of every 2 years having a complete turnover of the council, which leads to a real learning curve. As many of the discussions that we've had already, it can take, you know, up to a year to get used to the process and how a cycle runs. So that was some of the thought process behind making this a 4-year term and staggering them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public?
Jim Camaro, 1221 Crandall Rd.
If you wouldn't mind just hitting the button there, sir. Thank you.
Technology, huh? So Jim Camaro, 1221 Crandall Road, Chairman of the Personnel Board. I come here just to, I guess, educate everybody on some misunderstandings from the last meeting that we had. And I come here prepared to explain that stuff, or what the process is like. But I'm a little taken with a left hook here under the recommended charter change that we want to put in. That's been drafted up. This is a 180-degree turnaround from what we proposed to the Charter Review Commission. As a personnel board, we put in to have consistency within the charter for the hiring practice. Okay? And I'm sure you, if you don't have it, I have a copy of what we submitted to the Charter Review Board.
Article
All right.
10, Section 1007.
You're,
What's that?
I don't think you're on the same change that we're on. We haven't got to the Personnel Board change yet.
Oh, I thought that's what we were just doing. Didn't you say?
No, that was a town, it was...
Yeah, it's on Section 4.
I'll defer for a couple of minutes to the next time we're up.
I will make sure to call on
We'll
you,
see you in a
sir.
few minutes.
All right. Any other members of the council? Or any other members of the public want to speak on the changes to Article 4, Section 401? Any other members of the public? Any other members of the public? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Councilor Burke.
So thank you, Mr. Janik, for giving us that summary, because it really does let us all know why this came before us. I think it's important for us to move to 4-year terms. This is my 5th year, so almost 6th year on the council. I guess 6th year on the council, and I learn something new every day. So it is a steep learning curve for us, and you need some of that continuity of institutional memory as you go forward. And there are other opportunities if folks really felt somebody was doing a negative job of dealing with that. My only question is, we had discussed, and I don't know where the solicitors landed on it, we had discussed whether or not we could do this amendment in a way that allows the highest vote getters in this election cycle to take the 4-year terms.
Right. Mike and I discussed that. There is some case law that may support doing that, but we think the better process is to have it commence, as it says here, November 7, 2028, so that the voters know going in this election cycle what they're actually voting for.
Did you look back at when we changed the school committee and the budget committee? Because I'm pretty sure we did it the way I described it.
It's my understanding, and Joan will correct me when I'm wrong.
I could be wrong.
That they've always had staggered terms.
I checked the charter, and going back to 1994, the original charter had it as a 4-year staggered term for the school committee.
So the situation would not have arisen.
Okay. Any other? Councilor Janik.
I sat on the Budget Committee for 6 years, and we were staggered, and I think going onto the Budget Committee as a brand-new member, it was very helpful to have half of that committee with 2 years of experience. One of the other things that happens on the council, because all 7 of us could not be here after November, there are items that kind of get pushed through quickly, that don't get vetted, or there are items that get stopped, and then you have to start again with a new council. And it takes a long time to catch up to that. So having half of the council be new and half of them being, I don't want to say old, but being here experienced, we'll say that. I just think it helps. It helps with the flow, and it helps with the continuity.
Any other comments from the council? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion. Councilor Burke.
So the language, I'm sure it's not in here. Sorry. Because I have minimal set too. So the language before us has the 4 highest vote getters.
Yes.
Yes. I am going to propose that I'm going to make a motion that we use the language that's before us, 4-year terms, staggered terms, with the 4 highest vote getters receiving the 4-year terms, and the others' terms being converted at the next election.
So commencing November 7, 2028.
For the other 3 positions. First 4 are the highest in this election cycle. So that's what's written here.
Commencing
So
November 3rd?
Yes. Yes. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. So everything backdated to November 3rd of 2026. That's, I mean, it's a motion if...
Yeah. Do we have a second?
I'll second that. That was a question I had as well. And I understand the logic of folks didn't get advance notice. This could fail, and as been mentioned, all 7 of us are vulnerable on November 3rd, as far as I'm concerned. We have to run just like everybody else. So, I would support that.
Okay, so the motion is to amend the language to be commencing on November 3rd, 2026.
Correct.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on the?
Yeah, I just think, I mean, I somewhat agree with what Councilor Burke is saying, but at the same time, I think we got to make sure that our constituents are clear on what they're voting on in the booth. So I don't think I'm entitled. I don't think I'm going to support that at this time. I think it should be, as stated, and take place in 2028, so everybody's clear on what we're doing. Just my opinion.
Mr. Solicitor, how shaky is the ground if we go with this amendment?
I didn't do the research myself. Just thinking through it, though, as an elector, you don't know if you're electing somebody to a 4-year or a 2-year term as you walk into the booth on November 3rd. And that's the problem.
I can make the argument that nobody knows, because nobody knows who's going to finish in the top 4.
But you know whoever finishes in the top 4 will have a 2-year term. That's what you know.
I just,
A 2-year term, right now. Well,
The way it's structured today.
you know what term the top 4 will have.
Actually, you know what term the top 7 will have.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
But if you have this commence on November 3rd, you don't know if the top 4 will be 4-year terms or 2-year terms.
Councilor Camino?
I don't know. I just feel as though for us as a council right now to put this in play, I have a small problem with it. It's almost like we're trying to set up ourselves to get that 4-year term. I don't know. Morally, I just think it's wrong. I just think we should play it out the following election. It's fair game for everybody, and I'm not here putting something on a charter that I could benefit on 4 years. Just my personal opinion, and that's why I don't think we should do it now.
4-year term could also make people not want to run.
No, I agree with you, Craig. I think that people going to the ballot need to know I'm committing to this person for 4 years or 2 years, and I don't remember when the school committee changed.
I stand corrected. The clerk did the research. I stand corrected. She said it was 1990, well, at least as far back as 1994.
The original charter was approved in 1994, and it was in there as staggered 4-year terms.
Yeah, I don't remember it not being staggered 4.
I'd say I tend to come down on the side of Councilor Camino on this amendment. And I think it's kind of nice when the first 4-year term kicks off and it would line up with the presidential, so I think we'd get higher turnout, higher voter participation for the first 4-year term.
That's true, too.
So,
Move the question.
all right, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? A yes vote means we amend it to backdate to November 3rd, 2026. All those in favor?
I'm going to stick with it because I did it, but I understand both sides.
Okay, opposed. All right, now I'd like to entertain a motion for the language as written.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Okay. Now I'd like to entertain a motion for the ballot question.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
I just have one question. And I know you've already discussed this without me with Mike, but should the ballot question also indicate that it commences on November 7,
Yes.
2028? The ballot question itself.
Yes.
No, it doesn't right now. The question
That's why
itself
I'm
does not.
raising it.
So shall the charter be amended to increase the terms, blah, 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 commencing with, just add a clause at the end, commencing with the election of November 7, 2028?
That would be my suggestion, but
So I would amend that ballot question to add that clause at
that's
the end.
not on the ballot, John.
All right,
They
so
wouldn't see that.
motion to amend the ballot question to indicate when the terms will start. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made, second by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, now we can vote on the completed ballot question. Motion by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Paul. All those in favor? Okay. Next item on the agenda is Article 4, Town Council, Section 407. We'll start with the language. Any members of the public like to speak on the proposed language for 407? Any members of the public? Any members of the public? You're next after this one, sir. No, the next one will be. I told you, I will call you. Don't you worry. All right. Now I'd like to close the public hearing on Section 407. Do I have a motion from any member of the council? Councilor Burke.
I would move that we approve the charter amendment language for Section 407. And
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Paul. For anybody at home, this is additions, basically dovetails with Article 2, Election Section 204. Allows the council to make those decisions should that pass. My question for you, Mr. Solicitor, is what happens if 204 doesn't pass but 407 does?
We'd have a quandary. You'd have ambiguity.
Is that a legal term?
So,
can we combine those two?
could you combine?
One question?
Could you? Well, you have to do 407 and just Section 17 with Article 2, Section 204. That would be the natural fit.
It would. Can we do that?
And then it would be the same, actually, it'd be the same thing for Section 18 on that same section with Article 10, Section 1007. Because those, if passed, those two changes would happen. And actually, Mr. Camara, I think, I did close the public hearing, but I think I need to open it back up for you because this section does deal with council powers. And if we move forward with this without hearing your input, sir. But it's also impacted here on
Right. 'Cause it's
item
under the
18.
same powers and duties.
It's the same powers and duties.
Can we, is it possible, though, for us to figure out this piece around land? And if we're going to split it off, then we can have Jim come up on that other section?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Mr. Camara, we're going to figure out this land piece, and then I will make sure that you're brought up before we do anything with 18. So, okay.
And what was the other section, Mr. President? 1007?
Yeah, 1007. It's the next one after 407, item 4 on here. It's directly below, and then it falls onto the next page. And I think this is a way to shorten the number of questions if we can combine them.
204 be under this 407 anyway? Article 2, election?
No, because it's in a separate section of the charter. So we're basically changing line item by line item in the charter.
So it would be something similar, shall the several sections of the charter, section blah, 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 be amended to allow the council to sell, purchase, acquire land that's not related to open space, recreation, conservation.
And
without
specifically identify those sections of the charter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Joan's checking.
Because that would reduce the number of charter items on the ballot.
I mean, immediately we'd be down to 14.
Yeah.
And that's before we hit a couple of these other ones that impact.
But more importantly, it doesn't put us in that quandary position if one goes and one doesn't, and the other one goes, and you have two going one way, one going another way, and you have a rotary.
The same situation would apply to the next one that Mr. Camara wants to talk about, is if 407 passes, but Article 10, 1007 doesn't, now you have a mismatch.
Correct.
Right, so those would have to be combined, too.
I mean, why would we mix those two together anyway? Like section, I know it's powers and duties of the council, but it's clearly talking about two different things in that one section.
Because it's under powers and duties.
It has to fall under powers and duties, like...
Is the clerk looking to see it pass charter
I guess
amendments
that's a
to see
yes.
if we've ever combined?
I think that's what she's doing.
Okay.
It can be separated.
So
Or at least
while the clerk does her
she's
research,
checking the clerk's research.
while the clerk does her research, would it be acceptable to the council to take out of order Article 6, Financial Services, Section 602, Town Treasurer through Section 606, Transition?
I have no objections.
Okay. All right, so without objections, we'll open up the public hearing on Article 6, Financial Services, Section 602, Town Treasurer through 606, Transition, and we'll return to these two in question when the clerk has returned. Any member of the public like to speak on this section? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing.
You can't.
Oh, sorry.
You can't, because right in the first line, you have to decide whether it's the town council or the town administrator who appoints the town treasurer.
I thought we ironed that out when we moved this forward the last meeting.
It's here in parentheses, so you tell me what you want. I'll make that happen.
And correct, everybody was there at that meeting, so I thought we agreed that it would be the administrator for,
That's what it says in here.
yeah.
It's the administrator?
Subject
Yes.
to town council approval.
Right.
Like any other department head.
Yep.
602. We skipped ahead while you were doing that.
And I know the clerk was doing her research, but I think the way this is combined speaks to those other sections that we thought about combining.
Yeah.
So is the hearing open or closed on this?
So yes, the public hearing on Article 6, 602 through 606 is now closed. We have a motion from the council.
Motion to approve the charter amendment language related to 602 and 603, isn't it?
602 through Section 606.
Oh, okay, through Section 606.
So moved.
Motion seconded by Councilor Hall and Councilor Janik. Just for everybody at home that's watching, this change would make the town treasurer appointed rather than elected. And this would take effect at the election, correct? Well, she's not elected until the following.
Right.
It's not until the following term.
Yeah, and there's a transition clause.
Okay.
I just think this makes total sense. This position is highly important. It is a technical position, and you need the skills, expertise, and knowledge to be able to do it effectively. And our current treasurer, thankfully, has those skills, expertise, and knowledge, and has done it highly effectively. So I think it's a no-brainer to me.
Any other discussion points from the council? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? None opposed. All right, Madam
Did you want
Clerk.
to do the ballot question first on the town treasurer?
Oh, yeah, sorry, let's do the ballot question next.
And here's the reason I was asking that, because the ballot question, unless I'm missing something, only speaks to 602 and 603. That's where my confusion lay.
Right. I saw that too, Mike. We have to correct that.
But that's not on the ballot. Does it say on the ballot, section 602, 603, et cetera?
Do we actually, on the ballot, do we actually identify the section number? Like a heading?
Okay, so on the actual ballot, there is a heading. And it basically says amendments to Home Rule Charter by resolution of the Town Council when you adopted the resolution. And then it can break it down into either one section or multiple sections. And as an example, in 2022, there were changes made for Articles 4, 5, and 9. So it identified the article numbers. Didn't identify the section number. It just, like in this case, it was Article 4, 5, and 9. The ballot question was, shall various cited articles of the Home Rule Charter, various articles, cited articles of the Home Rule Charter be amended to allow for the Town Council to determine and set additional educational, job experience, or other requirements for the hiring of the town administrator, police chief, fire chief, and director of public works. So it included all of those positions under this. So it was like one topic, but it impacted multiple articles.
But it didn't cite the article number,
didn't.
on the ballot.
It just said the article number, not the section number.
Okay.
So I think we should probably go that route if that's what past precedent is.
And these are all under Article 4? Yes. Okay. I agree.
Right.
Will the voter information clarify that further?
Whatever you approve for the ballot question, that's what goes into the voter information guide. So it would have the ballot question, that's the only thing that goes on the ballot.
Right.
Then it has the reason for change and the change, effective change. So
Financial services.
it would have all of that information in the voter information guide. So what you're approving here is what actually will be in there, and what actually goes on the ballot is only the ballot question.
Changes in here.
So yes, we can combine the ballot question for both 204 and 407, Section 17, all regarding land.
Yeah, I think it should be done by topic.
Okay.
So would your preference be first to go back and rescind the motion on the land transfer?
This might be an old one.
As to the ballot question.
As to the ballot question.
Okay.
So I make a motion to rescind the previous.
Before we do that, we need to finish up
sorry.
Article 6, sorry.
Before we get confused.
Yes, I want to try and keep this as not confusing as possible. Mr. Janik, you have something on financial services?
Correct, yes. Michael Janik, 374 Judson Street. You reference under financial services, Section 602 and 603, 602 being the
Treasurer.
thank you. But 603 is the tax collector.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
actually,
confused.
It's just pointing that out.
and I'm just, as we're looking at the language too, you've got 602 is the town treasurer, and then 604 is the addition of transitional language and vacancy. I don't see anything out to 606, so I think it should have been,
603 has nothing to do with 602.
yeah, well, I think it's probably a scrivener's
It's
error.
renumbering.
John.
It's renumbering.
Yes.
I spoke with Mike about this earlier today. Based on the section below that says current section 603 tax collector, he had to add additional sections, which pushed it up to the 606.
Oh, so effectively, it's, I gotcha.
It's just pushing everything forward.
Correct.
One.
Yep.
So 602 becomes the treasurer's, or 603 becomes the treasurer's duties and responsibilities. 604 becomes the tax collector's.
It's the current charter.
Well,
60,
yeah, we're bumping everything. So effectively, if you scroll down,
The very last paragraph talks about current
we're
section.
bumping, we're inserting sections here, which bumps this down, which bumps this down, which bumps everything down to 606.
Gotcha. So
Because we're adding
everything
two
will
new
be
sections in there.
Gotcha.
But I think if we're basing it off the language that we've used in the past, it would really be around the articles. Cite the articles, shall the following articles be amended to accomplish this?
yeah, I think it was.
We're coming back with revisions, obviously, anyways.
Okay.
So let us see what we can do as to whether we just identify the article or the article and sections.
Okay.
And for this one, it may make more sense to say section, Article 6, Section 602 through 606.
Okay. All right, so we want to amend the ballot question as it sits right now from 602 to 602 to 606.
Correct.
All right, do we have a motion to amend the ballot question?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, now we're going to approve the ballot question. Motion by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Paul. All right.
Yep.
I assume they would stay the same. Any further discussion there on the ballot question? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Now we can go back, and I think we rescind, we need a motion to reconsider the original ballot question on Article 2, Section 204.
Rescind or reconsider? Because we're going to change it in whole, right?
You can rescind it. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Motion to rescind the previous approved motion related to land acquisition and sales.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay.
So motion to approve a new ballot question that reads,
Mr. Solicitor, I believe this is where you step in.
Yes, you'll receive that in written form, combining sections 204 and 407.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion, just
Motion
broad
to
strokes?
direct the town solicitor to come back to us with a new ballot question for land transfers that combines sections 204 and 206, was it?
No.
407.
407,
sorry.
Article 4, 407, subsection 17.
Subsection 17.
Second. Seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion?
No, just to clarify for anybody that's watching and laughing at us, that's because there's similar language in both of these sections, and they potentially could contradict each other.
Yes.
So it's an all or nothing proposition, so we don't wind up in a legal quandary, as the solicitor stipulated. All those in favor? Okay. Now, Mr. Camara. It is your turn, sir. We're on section 407, subsection 18, and Article 10, section 1007, Personnel Board, because we're going to have to combine those two into one question, because if one were to pass and the other were to not, it would be a quandary. If you wouldn't mind just hitting the button for me, sir.
Speak on the 1007.
Yes.
Okay.
Knowing full well that it would also impact 407, section, item 18.
Okay, Jim Camara, 1221 Crandall Road, Chairman of the Personnel Board. I just want to relay to the council that we've always had a wonderful working relationship with the council, previous councils, including this one, in the hiring of the town administrator, all right? So after the last meeting that you had a couple weeks ago, I went back and we did some research going back 10 years on the hiring of town administrators. All right, in each of the reviews and that, and I'm looking at our notes, we have always invited the town council to sit in on our interviews of those applicants that we have screened and found to be qualified for the position of town administrator. We've invited the town council in. Now, prior to that, when we get the applications and we screen them, all right, in some cases, we've had 18 applicants. I'm going back several revs back here. And when we screen them down to maybe 1 to 8, 10 people we're going to interview, all right, those are the people that we invite the town council in to sit on our process, so you guys get 2 bites at the apple. One, hearing the questions that we ask the applicants, and when we push them forward to the council, you have a second chance to interview those people on your own. Okay? What brought us to this point here is that this last round, I think there was some miscommunication or misunderstanding, because we had received 6 applicants for the last town administrator position, 3 of which we were going to be found qualified and we were going to interview. We scheduled the interviews, 1 withdrew, and 1 took another job someplace else, which left us with 1 applicant. Okay? So we interviewed that particular person, which was Pat Jones, and we had invited the town council there, and I think 5 members, this was your very first meeting you guys had as a new sitting town council. It was at the Tiverton Library. Okay? But anyway, 5 of you showed up. I explained the process, and we moved forward, and obviously we did a wonderful thing there. And with that being said, because there was only 1 applicant, we can move forward at the end of the day. But historically, we push forward either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if we find them qualified for that. So with that all being said, and the confusion that was taking place during that time period, the council adapted a governance policy, which fixed everything, okay? Because our role as a personnel board for all positions in town, even though we recognize that the council is a sole hiring authority for the town administrator, okay? We have a hiring process that when the application process goes out, the applications come in, we review them, we screen them, and the personnel board serves as a filter for the town, okay? Because we have an established hiring policy. Now, if you want to change that, that's all well and fine. But when we put our charter review request in, all we really did was take the governance policy, which satisfied everybody's needs, especially with ours, and the confidentiality of applicants who don't get moved forward, all right, to safeguard and protect them, because we have an obligation as a committee and a board to protect that identification until such time as we move it forward to you guys. So we put our charter request in to basically cut and paste the governance policy and put it into Section 1007 so that we can lock this in, so we're not kicking this can down the road any further, because this comes up every once in a blue moon, and this personnel board may not be the same the next time we go through another hiring process, nor will the council be the same. And you may have some people who may have a question and want to do things differently. That's fine, on how the hiring process works. All we're saying is that we want to have a consistent hiring practice for the town of Tiverton, including for the town administrator. And all that is that the board gets the applications based upon the advertisement and qualifications you guys are looking for. We screen them. We call the ones that we feel are most qualified for it. We do an interview. We invite the council to sit in on that. We've done that, like I said, I went back 10 years. And we probably had, I think, 3 or 4 or maybe 5 town administrators back in that time. And we've always worked hand in hand with the council with that. And we make our recommendations, and you always have the right to say yay or nay on who's moved forward to you. We could give you 4 names. You say, I don't like any of these applicants. And we start all over again. So we put the charter request in, and I'm like I said, I'm glad we got a little confused there in the beginning, because I kind of get my thoughts together, because I was given a left hook here that this charter request form that's put in here is totally opposite of what we're asking for. This is telling us that we're taking the personnel board out of the hiring process for town administrator. If that's what the council wants to do and the people want to vote on it, all's fair and well. But all I'm saying again, the board serves as a filter for the town of Tiverton and for the council. If something goes wrong or goes astray and somebody brings up some type of complaint against a hiring practice, the council's on their own. Because you guys are handling the application process, the review process, and the hiring. All I'm saying is that we serve as a filter, we're screening everybody for you, and we have a hiring practice which is consistent for all positions in town. Again, I say that knowing that you are the hiring authority. So I don't know how we got to this point here where it's just the opposite of what we put in to the Charter Commission. So that's my 2 cents worth. Any questions? I'm here to answer them.
I don't remember and maybe I could be really wrong, I don't remember the invitation to sit in on the town administrator's interviews. I don't remember how that came about, whether it was a letter, email, or
It was an email sent out, I believe, December 5th or 6th. I sent it to Joan, she forwarded it to all the council members. I checked this afternoon.
Okay. No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, and it was at the Tiverton Library, Craig, and I think there was, if my memory serves me correct, there was 5 of you that showed up, and I know you had a couple questions because this was your first time being part of the process as far as sitting on the interview. And somebody else too, I think it was one of the, Denise was there.
You were there.
Yeah. There was, I think, 5 of you that showed up there.
It was like your first week on the job.
Yeah, it was the first week on the job.
How'd I do?
For those of you considering running for council.
All right, so I agree with everything you're saying, I just didn't remember that invitation part of it, but I think it's important that the personnel board does their job, and I really think the whole hiring practice in Tiverton, the entire thing needs to be looked at, not just this, because the process seems to be different every time we get past the personnel board. That's when things, to me, in my opinion, start to go awry and start to change, right? I've been through that process, and I think Chief Jones, Administrator Jones, has been through that process, and it always seems to have changed, I think, after the personnel board. So I think this is important to leave it exactly the way it is, and the way the personnel board does their job now. I just think it's important that they vet everybody, just like Mr. Kamara is saying, and I'm not in favor of this charter change at all. I think they do their job, and I think the entire process needs to be looked at after the personnel board does what they do so well.
Councilor Janik? Bear in mind, we still have the public hearing open, so we do need to give opportunity for any other comments.
Well, then I can wait until...
Unless you have questions for Mr. Kamara, in which case, go ahead.
No, I know we discussed this at our last meeting, and some of the concern was that one of the counselors felt that they wanted all of the
Access.
applications. But I do not recall that we said that the Personnel Board would no longer be in effect for the town administrator. I think that the Personnel Board does a fabulous job. They review the applications, they understand the law, they understand the job requirements, and you have all been doing it you really have not had a lot of turnover on that board, and
Right.
you have been doing it and working cohesively. I was not at the interview for our current administrator, but I was at an interview for another applicant.
Right.
And the questions that were asked were really spot on, and I was really impressed because it was the first job interview that I had been to with the Personnel Board. So I don't agree with this part that the Personnel Board should not be, should be removed completely. I think that the council, because the town administrator does report to the council needs to be heavily involved, but I really wouldn't favor taking the Personnel Board entirely out of that whole setting.
So basically, just to comment on your comments, is that the charter review, the charter request we put in was to, again, take the governance policy, which gives all the applications to the Personnel Board to review and to safeguard those applicants' names from becoming a matter of public record, all right, until such time as we identify who we're going to interview. And that's section 2, not section 2, but step 2 would be, we put out the invitation to the council, we're having our interviews with the Personnel Board and the applicants on such and such a date, you're invited to sit in on it. And that's where it would stop.
Correct.
After the interview, then we make our recommendations. You can either accept them or not accept them. And if you don't accept any of them, then we start from square one again. Then we go for more applicants.
I think that some of the concern was they wanted to see all of the
Right.
applications, and it was a privacy issue, but
Exactly.
we have access to a lot of private information. We're in executive session, so I think that we can keep things confidential.
Last week or so, I talked to one of the council members you mentioned, and the concern was that there was only one applicant. I explained how we got to that.
Right, I know.
All right, and
Right.
that seemed to satisfy that particular council member. Explanation is why it became such a up-to-do back last December and January. So again, we're only trying to fix something to have a consistent hiring practice for all positions in town, understanding that with the town administrator position, you're the sole hiring authority. There's no question, we've never questioned that. It's been brought up through different conversations with people and different opinions, so to speak, all right? But again, I don't know how we got to this, taking us out of the pitch, and I don't know who wrote
I'm
these
not
changes.
sure where that came from
I think
either.
it came from our discussions.
It did.
Did we say that? Totally take them out?
I don't recall it, and
I
I'm
don't
going to
recall
motion
it
on it.
either.
I think that was the language that we have in front of us. It's pretty broad. I mean, I think the way to solve this problem would just to be, if we're going to amend this section of the charter, would be to have a subsection, I guess 1A, that just covers the language that's in the governance policy, which, for those at home, says the town council is solely responsible for hiring the town administrator. It shall review and approve the job description for the position prior to it being posted and advertised. All applications and submissions for the position of town administrator shall be sent to the Personnel Board for review, and if determined to be qualified by that board to be interviewed, after the interviews are complete, the Personnel Board shall recommend to the council applicants for their further consideration.
Are you
I think
proposing
that's-
to add that?
We'd have to strike the
Strike
changes.
everything else and read
Right,
that.
because this here says the amendment would remove the Personnel Board from the process of screening potential applicants for the position of town administrator. That does not sound vague to me. I don't see
Oh,
like
I'm
any
looking at
way
the
around
language,
any
sorry,
of
yeah.
that.
Are you looking at the ballot?
She's looking at I think you're looking at the ballot
I
question?
am looking at the
Yeah.
ballot question, sorry.
Okay, so we can fix that.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the charter language first, if we can.
I know that there was a lot of issues around, not the hiring of our administrator, but the process. And I just would like that to be rectified for whoever's sitting at this table when that comes up.
My understanding, the only problem is that some members weren't happy that they wanted to see all the applications. And that was the hang-up, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Part of our discussion was also, I just lost my thought because you interrupted me.
You didn't have your hand up, oh, you did?
I started talking just like you started talking.
I didn't call on anybody. It's just a free-for-all past Counselor Janik over here.
Sounds
I
like...
don't know that, but I think your solution, Mr. President, also addresses something that I think might be just a minor oversight, and even in the current charter. It makes logical sense, but it doesn't say who would interview any applicant. There's no language in there. It says you select people for interviews, but it doesn't say you interview them, even under the current charter.
I think
It's make logical sense,
I think it's
yes.
implied that the board, the personnel
I
board,
understand
does the
that,
interview.
but laws and charters have specific language to allow for such, and that's been the practice, I agree. So if it's an oversight, I think what you're describing would address that oversight.
Yeah, it actually doesn't say in the language that the personnel board interviews anybody.
Right.
It just says that you determine who is to be interviewed. It doesn't say that you interview anybody.
Right.
So that would be worthwhile, I think,
Yeah.
putting in there.
Because the charter is a framework, right? And don't forget, you still have delegation authority, right?
We do.
This rests the initial authority with you, and you can delegate that out as you see fit.
Right, that was the point I was, so we did have in our other discussion that even if what is here passed,
That's the
we
charter
still,
language.
as a charter change, any council could say, personnel board, we still want you to do this other part of the process. So it wouldn't prohibit it.
Or not, yeah. They can or not.
Right,
That was part of it.
right.
That's why we put in the charter, to lock it in so that we'd have a consistent hiring policy, all right, for the town administrator, consistent with the rest of the town. I mean, we do the police chiefs, we do the fire chiefs, we do everybody. And, you know, again, we work very closely with the town council, whoever that town council will be, and we always invite you in. So understanding that we still have regulations and laws we have to follow as far as confidentiality is, because we've had problems in the past where before we changed the application process, so we have our own website now or our own email address. I'm going back 10, 20 years, and somebody's applying for a job, and, you know, rumor mill was that, you know, Johnny Jones is going to get this particular job. It's already out there. We already know it's done. We haven't even seen the applications. So the process we have now is very confidential. We safeguard and we protect that information, and nobody gets access to it until the time comes when we're doing our process. So, again, we serve as a filter for the town and for the council, for the hiring of all positions. And if we can make those changes, the recommendation you made, that's the same thing we're asking. So that's all we're saying, to be consistent and to have a defined process so that no other personnel board, whoever's on the committee, all right, because I've been here 25 years, I don't know if I got another 25 left.
Yeah, you do.
I says, but and whoever the new council is, so there's no issues. Because again, let me tell you, we got a wonderful board, we got a variety of backgrounds, and everybody takes the function personally, and we put 100% into what we're doing. The charter change we put in, I know I'm talking too much, but I got to make up for all the missteps earlier.
I made you get up and sit down so you get extra time.
So bottom line is that we put a lot of time and effort into that charter review change. And that's all I'm saying, because we care. The whole committee cares. So, and we care, and we want to protect the town from any lawsuits or anything else.
Councilor?
All right? That's all I got to say.
I believe there's nothing in the charter also that says you have to forward more than one name.
Right, that's been changed.
Nothing in the charter that says you have to submit 3 names. If there's only one candidate, like there was, then you can forward one name.
Yes, and most recently, we forwarded, I think, the last position we did, we had 4 names that that we forwarded to the town
And I mentioned this at the last meeting we had. Sometimes you might lose that one candidate.
Right. and
Because
between-
if you wait 2 or 3 weeks, that person's going to get a job somewhere else.
Exactly.
And the last thing I'd like to say is that I think those applications should be held confidentially. No one should see those applications. No one.
That's the law.
That's the law.
That's the law. That's what we follow, right to the T.
You know, I managed stores all my life. I worked with many personnel coordinators. No one gets to see those applications. That's the law.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time and your patience.
Any other members of the public like to speak on this proposed charter change? Any other members of the public? Okay. Any other members of the public? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilor Rd.
Can I ping pong off your suggestions?
Yeah. I think by all means.
So I make a motion that we amend the proposed charter amendment that's before us for section 407 by striking the proposed section 18.
And that would be under, 407.
407-18.
Yep.
And by striking the underlined language for 1007, A1 and A2, and by adding a new A1A, or whatever numeration is appropriate.
I, right, would be the next one?
Yes,
I, to insert the language that's in the current town council governance policy under hiring of town administrator, which is section 7D. And I'll just read that quick. I did have it. They had to make it bigger.
I have it here if you'd like me to.
Go ahead.
All right. The town council is solely responsible for the hiring of the town administrator and shall review and approve the job description for the position prior to it being posted and advertised. All applications and submissions for the position of town administrator shall be sent to the personnel board for review and if determined to be qualified by that board, to be interviewed. After the interviews are completed, the personnel board shall recommend to the town council applicants, potentially, for further consideration.
And then one last addition, I think it would fit under 1007A3, add in, for those applicants to be interviewed, I have to find the right place. No, I'm sorry. It would be 2, determine those applicants to be interviewed and interviewed the selected applicants.
Got all that, Todd?
And to interview the selected applicants.
Yes.
I thought you were going to type it for us live.
It's a PDF.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Sorry.
Can we have that change,
Which change? The one
that you want to
to
add?
the very last one?
Yeah.
So under 1007-2, we're already striking out everything that's underlined.
It's up there, Craig.
Yeah.
The number 2.
And then at the end of that, determine those applicants to be interviewed and interview the selected applicants.
Basically, it's saying that if you select somebody, the personnel board's going to interview them.
Right. It's just missing language. That's all.
And then they'll be interviewed by us after that.
We could.
Well, not.
We wouldn't have to.
The only one that it would apply to is the town administrator.
Right.
Right, but after their interview, do we need to state that also?
No, because that would be in the language in
That's in this.
1I. It's basically cutting and pasting the governance policy and putting that under section A1.
Yeah, so that 2 relates to any applicants for any position.
Yep.
Then we have that more specific subsection for the town
You're
administrator.
going to make it a 2A.
That's no, it's a 1I.
You're going to make it a 1I.
Right, the hiring of the town administrator, 1I.
All right, so that is a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Popeye. Any further discussion on the amendment made by?
Should it say in your 2, except for the town administrator?
Oh, yes, except for the town administrator.
Who's that?
No, because they're still going to interview.
Yeah.
They still
Yeah, they're still going to interview.
Yes. It's the high,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You're going to add,
It makes sense to me.
This is going to be
yeah, but you're going to add.
1I, which is going to be this section of our town governance policy, council governance policy. That relates to the town administrator. Jeannie?
Why does it need to be I?
Well, I'm
Because
going
it's
by
a
what the solicitor said. He said 2I. So,
We'll
I mean,
figure out
the numeration will
authority.
be, that's part of that technical process.
Yes.
So whatever that numeration is,
That doesn't make sense to me, it's just a...
because it's A2I,
A, B.
A1I, I'm sorry, A1I.
Because you went letter, number, and then you'd go.
I understand that,
Right.
but
It's got to conform to how the charter
Yeah.
is, so that's all.
I could be wrong on the eyes. It could be
Right, I think our charter.
uppercase A or something.
Yeah.
All right, so we get a second on that?
Yes.
Yes, by Counselor Paul. Okay. Any further discussion on the amendment that Counselor Burke put forward? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, now, Counselor Burke, are you to motion the charter language as amended?
Yeah, I'm trying to show the,
And then we'll put the ballot question, we'll smash them together.
right, so it's the same language shall.
Actually, no, because if you mentioned that we're striking
Oh, yeah,
out
we're
18.
striking that, so we're not- so it's
we're
only
done with
section
407. Yeah, so it's only
So,
1007.
yeah, so shall the charter be amended to clarify the role of the town council in the hiring process of the town administrator? I think that's the key one. I mean, the interview is really a technical
Yeah.
amendment.
Does that work for you, Mr. Solicitor?
You were talking about 1007?
Yes. So if we're consistent with the way we're doing it, it's just shall the charter be amended to clarify the role of the town council in the hiring process for the town administrator. And it does nothing, it doesn't change the personnel board's role in terms of them interviewing and all that, and reviewing applicants and everything else.
Do you want to include and gives the personnel board authority to interview?
Yeah,
It says it right here, and interview potential appointees in the question.
To clarify, yeah.
It's in there.
We will cobble it together.
Wonderful. All right, so you're going to motion the ballot question?
So moved.
As cobbled together, seconded by Counselor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay. So we are done with financial services, Article 7 Budget Committee, and Article 3 Annual Budget Process / Financial Town Referendum, Section 301B6 Budget Committee. Since this is a public hearing, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Any member of the public like to speak about this alteration to the budget process? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on this. Do I have a motion from any
trying
member
to
of the
find the
council?
language.
It starts at the bottom of page 2, Mike, and goes on to page 3.
Effectively,
Budget question.
Article 7 is stricken in its entirety, and Article 3, Section 301 is deleted.
So first, as to the charter, if we can have that motion. And then I have a technical question. Are we going to renumber everything or reserve Article 7? So
think you
say
reserve
Article
it.
7 reserved?
Yeah, I think, does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Reserve Article 7? Okay.
So I'll make the motion.
Microphone, Counselor.
Because you're deleting the entire article?
Your microphone.
Sorry.
If it were to get approved.
No, why, what did you say? Are we reserving?
Right. You're deleting entire Article 7 entirely. So if you do that, everything else would move up.
So you just leave it blank so the numbers stay the
It
same?
would say Article
and it
7
says
reserved.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the charter changes for the Article 7 of the Budget Committee, striking that section in that article in its entirety, and the changes to Article 3, Section 301B6, delete it as noted, with Article 7 being reserved for the future.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by several. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? How do we feel about the question on the ballot?
Pretty good.
You like it?
I have to find that one.
I think what it comes down to is if the voters decide to strike down that question, we would have to come back to either revisiting a budget committee or some type of budget oversight group.
Which we have the authority to create a standing committee.
And that was going to be my next question, because I think that there should be some type of oversight, but the budget committee seems to have run its course over the...
I did bring that up, and when we talked about it last time, we are eliminating the budget committee, but we, at some point, can then appoint like a financial committee or whatever it's called, some kind of entity.
I do recall that, yeah, that's...
But it doesn't need to be in the charter.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Make a motion to approve the ballot question for the Budget Committee, which reads, shall the charter be amended to remove all references to a budget committee and its duties?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilor Camino? Nope, sorry. All those in favor? Okay. Only a few more to go, guys. Next up is Article 8, Town Officials and Offices, Section 801, Town Clerk. Any member of the public like to speak about the alteration that the town clerk would be appointed and not elected? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? Okay, I'll close the public hearing on this section. Councilor Burke.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes, proposed changes to the charter under Article 8, Town Officials and Offices, Section 801, and Section 801A and C, which removes the town clerk from being elected to an appointed position and has that as appointed by the town administrator.
Do I have a second?
With the approval of the council.
With the approval of the council.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilor Janik.
I just think that this goes along in line with the treasurer. It's the same type of position, same rationale, just so that people understand why that thought process was made.
I would also add one component to this, which I think has flown under the radar, but I think it's imperative. This effectively means that the clerk now no longer needs to be an elector in the town in order to serve as clerk. So if we have a member of the staff, like let's say Madam Clerk decides to retire one day, and we have a qualified member of her staff who wants to move up and become the town clerk but doesn't live in town, it gives us the ability to have somebody qualified fill that role.
So, Mr. President, before we move forward, I'm trying to find the actual language on the treasurer that we already approved to compare, because I think...
Yeah, the treasurer has like duties and responsibilities, bullet pointed.
No, town treasurer will report to and be supervised by the town administrator while also, okay, to the town, okay. Oh, and by no less than 4 affirmative votes. So there's more specific language under the treasurer that the appointment has to be approved by the council than there is in the clerk. And I caught that. I don't see that. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. My mistake. I missed it.
Yeah, the blue section there.
It's there. I missed it.
It's not the same language.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
probably
No,
should
it's,
be.
well, appointed by the town administrator with approval of, it should be of or by, we have of by, a majority of the vote of the town council.
We just got to vote on the actual charter language first.
Right. Yeah, that's what I have before.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I put before us, but I thought something was missing. But no, I think that language is fine.
Okay. Any further discussion on the charter actual language? Hearing none, all those in favor? Now for the ballot question. Are we good on the ballot question, Counselor Burke?
So I would move approval of the ballot question to read, shall the charter be amended to provide for the appointment of a town clerk by the town administrator for a period not to exceed 3 years, subject to town council approval?
Yep.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the ballot question? Counselor Janik?
Because here it says "or town council," we're striking that.
Right.
correct?
Struck it.
Okay,
Because we already said town
correct.
administrator.
No, I know.
Actual language.
I just want to make
Yep.
sure you got that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Okay. Now let's move on to Article 8, Town Officials and Offices, Section 806, Town Planner. This would add the town planner as a required position in the charter. Any members of the public like to speak on the town planner being added to the charter? Any members of the public? Any members of the public? All right, I'd like to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion by the council?
Motion to approve the proposed language for Article 8, Town Officials and Offices, adding new Section 806, Town Planner, which allows for the appointment of a town planner by the town administrator for periods of 3 years, not to exceed 3 years, and outlines the duties and responsibilities of that role.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Now to the ballot question.
Make a motion to approve the ballot question for the new Section 806, Article 8, 806 of the Town Charter. Shall the charter be amended to require that there be a town planner whom shall be appointed by the town administrator for an initial contract period not to exceed 3 years?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is Article 9, Departments and Agencies, Section 903, Fire and Rescue Department. As this is a public hearing, I'd like to open up the public hearing on this proposed charter change. Any members of the public like to speak about the Fire and Rescue Department? Any members of the public? Any members of the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion from the council? Councilor Burke.
No? I was going to hand it to you. Okay. Shall move approval of Article 9, Section 903, with the removal of subsection C related to volunteer firefighters.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilor Comito can no longer become a volunteer firefighter in this town. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just
Yes,
one
Councilor.
point of
Well,
interest.
it doesn't say you can't become a volunteer. It says you will not get preference on the hiring.
True. True.
Still volunteer. I'll bring it up with the chief.
So,
Counselor.
just point of interest, for me anyway, the town that I grew up in still works off of a fully volunteer firefighter system of 8, I think, hose companies. And they're hose companies in 2 ways, and I wouldn't want us to have to do this. So they're hose companies because they're firefighters, and they're hose companies because they raise their money by having bars. Member-only bars, but you can go to them if the member brings you in. So,
One also additional is that
Can you imagine that here with the water issue?
the way that
A brewery.
the way that states like New York and Pennsylvania handle it is they actually have length of service award programs and financially compensate volunteer
Yeah.
firefighters with
Yeah.
pensions. So, whole different structure. All right, so we have a
So the
motion.
motion's before us.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Councilor Janik? Nope, hearing none. All those in favor? None opposed. Now to the ballot question for same section.
motion to approve the ballot question for Article 9, Section 903, removing Section 903C related to volunteer firefighters' appointment for permanent fire service.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Okay, next item before us is Article 10, Boards and Commissions, Section 1001, Planning Board. As this is a public hearing, any member of the public like to speak about the Planning Board changes? Any members of the public? Any members of the public? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. We have a motion from the council.
Go ahead, Mike.
Councilor Burke.
Motion to approve proposed charter amendment changes to Article 10, Section 1001, Planning Board, first under duties and responsibilities, having the Planning Board work with and be advised by the town planner on issues related to land use, physical growth, and development, and to reduce the number of Planning Board members from 9 to 7, and adding that they would elect a vice chair and secretary in addition to the chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by several.
I just have one thing to add.
Yes.
Because Councilor DiMederos is not here, she did bring up language at your last meeting on this, adding to paragraph 1A, excuse me.
Is that the language that's underlined?
No, it's not even on here.
Oh, okay.
The planning board shall work with and be advised by the town planner on issues related to land use, physical growth, and development. She had also added, and provide information in a timely manner that the planning board members may request.
Can that be done by governance policy, council governance policy?
I think that it would be relatively ambiguous the way it's written.
I know why she's saying it, but I think it's...
Everybody knows why.
I think it's odd. I think it's odd to be part of the charter.
I agree.
In my personal opinion.
I would say that's part of a job description for the planner.
And
It was
oversight,
discussed last time, that's the only reason I'm bringing it up for you.
no, yeah, and oversight by the person who oversees that position.
Yeah. Do we have, I guess, consensus that we don't want to have that language in there, just what's before us?
So they can be tracked on when they get, that's a separate discussion.
I think that is like a whole separate...
Right. Well, and if I may, I also think that it kind of smacks of the performance of the planner, which would fall under my purview anyway.
Right.
So, because if it's, once you start getting into language that talks about duties and responsibilities in general, but then you're putting language into the charter, that what would be if that didn't happen? So would you have a member of the planning board file a charter complaint against the planner?
Right, right.
So, I mean, that could be dangerous, so.
Yeah. I agree it's an important issue, but I don't think it belongs here.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second on this. All those in favor? Okay, now to the ballot question.
So question on the formation of this ballot question. It says, shall the charter be amended to reduce the membership on the planning board from 9 to 7 with other clarifying amendments to conform with state law? So the language that we put in for the planner working with the planning board, is that the piece that's supposed to conform with state law?
It's the vice chairperson and secretary.
Okay, so should we have language in here that clarifies, with clarifying amendments as to the role of the town planner to the planning board and to conform with state law? That's really bad wording, I know, but conceptually, because if I'm the voter, okay, I'm thinking, okay, everything other than reducing numbers is about conforming with state law. So putting the planner's role in there must be in state law somewhere. But we're not saying, but that's not actually not the case.
Yes.
What happens if they don't approve the planner?
Fair point.
Well, we could separate the two.
We'll combine them.
You'll still have a planner, it just won't be a charter position, that's all.
Oh, yeah,
Still in the ordinances.
yeah, true.
But the only legal issue we're looking at is the secretary.
Chairperson and secretary, vice chair.
Because I don't even know what they have now, but they don't have all the positions filled.
I think we do
We do?
presently, reluctantly.
Reluctantly, you're right. We did.
Voluntold?
So,
In a limited time,
Yes.
yeah.
as it relates to the ballot question, what would we alter, or are we good with
I
the
don't know if
language?
the solicitor took something down to make my wording sound better.
Yeah, with other clarifying amendments as to the planner's role and to conform with state law. Something to that effect.
Okay.
So that's my motion to move forward.
Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilor Perry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, next item is Article 10, Boards and Commissions, Section 1002, Zoning Board of Review. Any member of the public like to speak about the changes to the zoning board that are being proposed? Any members of the public? Any member of the public? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion from the council?
I have an amendment to make.
You do.
In multiple places, it says the alternative, referring to the alternate member. And maybe that's a non-substantive,
Oh, the second alternate instead of the second
It
alternative?
says the alternative shall be designated as first alternate and second alternative.
Yeah, I think that's a Scribner's error you can handle.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the only one?
It's in there 3 times. As
Yeah, but nothing else. Okay. So make a motion to approve the proposed charter amendment changes to Section 1002, subsections A, B, C, and D related to the Zoning Board of Review to make it consistent with state law and clarify the role of the alternates.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Paul. Councilor Perry, come on. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, none opposed. Now to the ballot question.
Motion to approve the ballot question for Article 10, Section 1002, shall the charter provision related to the zoning board be amended to reflect changes in state law?
Do we have a second? Seconded by Councilor Perry this time. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, next item is Article 10, Boards and Commissions, Section 1008, Tiverton Harbor and Coastal Waters Management Commission. As this is a public hearing, I'd like to open up the public hearing and ask anybody has any thoughts on the changes that are proposed here. Any member of the public? Any member of the public?
Should be 4.
Any member of the public? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Yes.
I have a question. So in the first part, we have that no more than 5 terms expire in any one term. I'm also being told it was supposed to be 4 terms expire in 1 year. 1 year? Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, it would have to be.
So is it 4 or 5 that you want?
It'd be 4.
It'd be 4 to make it, so you have a 4-3. Yeah. And I have a note on mine that says 4, so we must have discussed that at some point. So, we had the public hearing, right?
Yes.
Motion to approve the proposed charter amendment changes to Article 10, Section 1008, Tiverton Harbor and Coastal Waters Management Commission to reduce the total number of board members from 9 to 7, to stagger the terms so that no more than 4 terms expire in any 1 year, and to eliminate the requirement that 1 member be a planning board member.
Motion's been made and seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? None opposed. Now to the ballot question.
Motion to approve the ballot question for Article 10, Section 1008, which reduces the number of members of the Harbor and Coastal Management Board Commission from 9 to 7 and eliminates the need for a planning board member.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Councilor Paul. Do we need language on the 5 to 4 members or no?
I don't think so.
Or would that just be a function of?
I think it's a function of how the board operates. The ballot question is general enough.
Wonderful. So motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, none opposed. Next item on the agenda is Article 10, Boards and Commissions, Section 1014, Economic Development Commission. Any members of the public like to speak on the EDC changes? Any members of the public? Any members of the public? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilor Burke.
Motion to approve the proposed changes to Article 10, Section 1014 for the Economic Development Commission, which modifies language around interactions with certain state agencies to make it more general as those state agencies change their titles, to assist in recruiting new businesses, for tax-based diversification consistent with the comprehensive plan, to provide businesses with resources, develop networking opportunities, and establish a public database of vacant industrial and commercial properties.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Councilor Janik. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? None opposed. Now to the ballot question.
Motion to approve the ballot question for Section 10, Section 1014 of the Economic Development Commission to amend it to update the duties and responsibilities of the Economic Development Commission and change outdated language.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Perry and Councilor Janik. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, next item is Article 10, Boards and Commissions, Section 1009, Arts Commission. Yes.
There it is, never mind.
Arts Committee. As this is a public hearing, would any member of the public like to speak on the deletion of the Arts Commission, the Arts Committee? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
One question, Mr. Council.
Yes.
This says other sections to be renumbered after this. I don't know if that's what you want or if it should just be reserved as we've discussed before. Because I don't know what the rundown effect would be.
Yeah, I think we stick with reserved.
Thank you.
If everybody's in agreement. Okay. So do I have a motion on this one?
So I'm hesitating on this one because I've gotten feedback from folks that they don't think we should eliminate this, even with knowing that we've had difficulty, and think that we should try harder to get people. Just some feedback I'm getting.
Can I just say, those people who don't want us to eliminate it, are they willing to serve on it?
They might be, but I can't speak for them. And so that's just putting that out there. So if somebody else wants to make that motion, I'll let them do that.
Councilor Paul.
Well, I'm just discussion-wise, I guess, maybe technically we should be a motion, I guess, but I don't think that this is not a valuable commission. It's just been kind of defunct lately. I think there's potential for
10 years.
lately, 10
Not
years.
quite 10 years, but
I just think there's
been a challenge.
definitely potential for this to play into the community some way, somehow, but we can also appoint that by ordinance if we have to.
So I would just add that I think, oh, sorry, Councilor Camino, go ahead. I think that one of the things that came out of our last discussion on this, and I understand we're making some changes, right? We're required to have a planning board, required to have a zoning board review. I honestly almost feel like we should just delete the vast majority of the committees and shorten the charter up and then do it by ordinance, but that's just my thought.
I don't disagree with that, but I think some of our discussion with the arts was if we had people that were interested, we were going to maybe put it under the recreation somewhere. Didn't we discuss that?
I think that's what's been happening.
I think that's what we discussed.
Yeah, I think you need to talk to Recreation first before we hand that off to them.
I see those two different things.
Well, I'm not saying to hand it off and, like, if somebody wanted to do the art stuff, like maybe get involved on the recreation side, I
And the
guess.
same people who said about not getting rid of it had concerns about that falling under recreation, because arts and culture are not necessarily recreation.
I get it, so which way do you want it? Do you want to be involved and do it, or you don't want to, that confuses me, but go ahead.
Do we have the opportunity to pull this back? Basically not move forward on the ballot, or what we're doing here tonight is this is the final bite at the apple, correct?
We're coming back with amendments. I assume you're going to have to schedule a special meeting for next Monday.
So if that's the case, I think that we, at least my preference would be, and I'll make the motion that we move forward with this. I think that we
Move forward in
we
which
move
way?
forward with it, and if between now and Monday we get applicants, I'd be fine with taking it off, going on the ballot. But
You mean move forward, vote to remove it from the ballot, or just pass on it right now? Pass to
Change the
next-
charter,
Vote to change-
remove the Arts
To remove
Commission.
it.
yeah, it's the sword of Damocles. I mean, if there's people who don't want to see the Arts Committee go away and they may be willing to serve, now would be the opportunity for them to step up and serve. And I think that demonstration would show us that there is viability in having the Arts Committee, which has had 0 members for a very long time. And that would change my opinion on removing it.
There have been people who have voiced their concern about us eliminating this, saying, well, Four Corners, all of those people are interested, but I'm not seeing them run forward and say, sign me up. So, we can't say we're going to keep it because people want it, but they're not willing to be on it. So I know you're the messenger, but...
Don't worry, we won't shoot you.
I know. And if the council decides to get rid of it from the charter, that's the
I think it's a shame to get rid of it too, but if we don't have people who are willing to do it, we could always add it later.
Or we could do an ad hoc or whatever.
Mr. Janik, you have some thoughts, sir.
Michael Janik, 374 Jackson Street. Just my opinion. If there's not a wholehearted agreement among you to remove it, why don't we leave it? There's no harm in leaving it. Same for the firefighters. If we feel that we're getting too many questions that could be putting on the ballot and creating an issue, no harm in keeping them in there, and the next time we do a charter review, look at it at that point. Just a thought. And one other thing, you've mentioned holding the articles that we eliminate as reserved, but the term that is used in the charter and has been consistently is repealed.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
fine.
You know, just so much wording. Anyway, my 2 cents.
I actually agree with his 2 cents. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it actually would eliminate one more item for the ballot, so. if we
Well,
just
like you
kept it-
said, even with the volunteer thing, if it eliminates 2 more questions, and we're not going
Now we're down to
2
13.
I think too many questions causes a problem.
I do
and,
too, yeah.
And if we can eliminate some of the, no harm, no foul here, with both of those items, it is what it is. I mean, even with the volunteer thing, for years and years, they never followed it anyway, so it didn't matter, right? You never got preference, you never got extra points, anything when you were trying to get a job in the fire department, because when you were a volunteer, that's the truth. So if we could eliminate some questions, I think it would be better for everybody.
Yeah, those two are essentially housekeeping. So the council can create or add or make changes to the charter once, twice in a fiscal, in a calendar?
We have to put it forward to the ballot.
It has to be a ballot
It would still have to go to the
initiative.
ballot.
Yes.
All right.
So you'd have to, if you wanted to do it off-cycle with a general election, you'd have to call a special election.
All right, just clarification-wise, only because, I mean, if there's certain ones that are housekeeping that wouldn't require all kinds of confusion and a lengthy ballot, those could be done potentially in an off year.
Yeah, so
I think
the other
you've
thing is...
combined a couple.
Right, and the other thing is the council could do what was just discussed and then wait till the next general election. So you're not doing an off-cycle election and costing us additional money for something that is housekeeping. Right.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody out there interested in, the purpose of the committee shall be to promote and encourage programs for the development of public awareness, enjoyment, and interest in various art forms and performances. Committee shall advise the town council as to changes in town ordinances as they affect the arts and availability of grants in the arts field, both in order to maintain and enhance the special quality of life found in the town of Tiverton. If that's you, apply fast. I do agree.
So what's the motion? So, all right, so
I'm going to make a motion that we do not take action on the Arts Committee recommendations.
do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Comito and Councilor Janik. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, so that one's off.
So question before you move forward, do we want to reconsider or rescind the motion around the firefighters if we're looking to reduce?
Another bite at the apple.
We get one more shot on Monday, correct?
I'll do that then.
So let's hang it on Monday.
You can do that then.
I personally would be here Monday, so if we could do it, I'd rather do it tonight. Unfortunately, I'll be on vacation, so. Yeah, I guess it is a personal
I
problem.
mean, listen, anybody can bring it up because we all voted on
Both
that
having
one.
personal problems?
Just to be clear, we're not going on vacation together. Sorry.
No, that's a personal problem. All right, so Councilor Comito, do you want to revisit and rescind
I mean, if,
the fire department?
just,
Because right now we're down to
I
13.
actually would, because I really think we have too many questions going on. And if it could be, I know it's a minor thing, but it's just one less thing for somebody to read. Like, we have too many other important issues. It has nothing to, we already discussed that.
Is that in the form of a motion you'd like to
That's in
rescind?
a motion to rescind that.
Okay. Do I have a second on rescind?
I think the person who made the motion has to.
So I'll make the motion to rescind the vote on the changes to this section related to firefighters and
903.
903.
And I was the second on it? Second. I'll second that.
And then as
Thank
for
you,
the
Mr.
ballot
Perry.
question, rescind that.
And to rescind the ballot question.
We did that in one motion, seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, so that's off. All right, last one is Article 11, School Department, Section 1101. School Committee. As this is a public hearing, any members of the public like to speak on these? Yes. I made you wait till the end. I wish I had known.
But all right.
All right, name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Hi, my name is Chris Jordan. It's 70 Alexandra Circle. Nice to see you. I think I know some of you. Just a few quick questions, actually. So I was wondering as I was reading this, is there any specific issue that this amendment was drafted to address? And has the current charter prevented a change in school committee leadership when it was needed? I guess that was one of the major questions I had. Or was the change in how, basically like the change that's done, the amendment done, was it simply done to clarify the authority and to align, basically to align the charter how it is with the town council? I guess the purpose, kind of the purpose of the change. So help me understand it better.
That's a great question. I think Mr. Janik, directly behind you, will be able to answer that.
I can.
Wonderful.
So, the Michael Janik, 374 Judson Street.
We know who you are at this point, sir. Just please continue.
Following protocol.
Yeah.
The position, the article as it was written in the charter didn't address the chair, vice chair, or secretary of the school committees. And so this change will put it more in line with the state protocol. And this was at the request of the schools.
It also strikes annually from there.
Right.
Which, if you have an election every 2 years, it doesn't make sense for them to annually change over those positions or ratify those positions.
Agreed. Correct.
So the language about the vice chair is not in the current charter? Because I'm looking at what I thought was the current charter language, and that's not underlined. Well, actually, I have it here.
I apologize because it's been several months since we reviewed
I
these.
appreciate you still being here, even though the Charter Review Commission has expired,
Not at
so
all.
thank you, sir.
What else would I do on a Monday night? There's no soccer.
Mrs. Janik, do you have any?
I believe it had to do with the, at the request of the schools, that their protocol, their practice was that they had those positions, and it wasn't reflected.
So the current charter says, school committee shall annually elect a chairperson, vice chairperson, and such other officers as they deem appropriate.
All right, so there was the annual. It was the annual.
It's the annual.
Yes.
And the answer is the World Cup is over.
So, Mr. President, may I ask the solicitor a question?
Sure.
With the language that's in there,
I think this is, I know where you're going with this.
if it were this body, if we had that language in ours, we could every year annually elect the same people.
Yes.
And at any point in time, we can decide we don't like the job that somebody's doing, and we can elect somebody different. This wouldn't prohibit that. The current language wouldn't prohibit that, would it?
From changing the officers?
Changing officers midstream before the next annual election.
If you have a provision in your governance policies allowing that.
I think he's just referring to the schools. Is the inclusion of the word annually annually for the election? Is it ultra problematic if they do it every 2 years in practice?
Yes, they should still hold an election each year for the officers because it says annually.
Right. So I'm holding an election. The three of us are elected various officers. Okay. 6 months from now, everybody thinks I'm doing a shitty job.
Yeah.
Terrible job. Sorry. Terrible
It's bound
job.
to happen at some point.
Terrible job. So Craig makes a motion to take me out of whatever office it is. Gets seconded, gets approved. I'm no longer in that office. And then somebody else gets elected.
Right, but you're being removed for cause from that office, right?
Whatever, you go out, their cause, whatever the cause the committee, as a committee, thinks is a cause. But there's nothing that prohibits them from making a change.
Correct.
Okay. So, and I'm getting to that because, again, if we're looking to reduce, Are they, and I don't know what their lawyer has told them, but does the current language really limit them from doing what they're trying to do with the charter amendment?
No, I think they're trying to prevent them being forced to hold an annual election.
Right.
But my bigger question, I guess, I don't know if the schools are watching or not, can we file a charter complaint against them because they didn't hold an annual election this year?
I have it.
And where would that go? I mean,
It goes to you.
it comes to us. Not that I'm not suggesting that I would do that, but
Mr. President, I have a question on this one as well, though.
Yeah.
So essentially, we're eliminating the term annually, but we have an election coming up right now, and there's going to be 2 seats filled.
Yeah.
So I think we should have something here that the school committee, with the 2 new elected persons,
Has a say.
has the ability
Have a say.
to have an election. And if it rolls the same way it does, then so be it. But if not, these 2 people that got on essentially wouldn't have a say in that position until
Well, we're supposed to have one annually every year.
right now.
But
But
it's-
this would eliminate that language.
We'll eliminate that language.
yeah, but the language of each of whom shall serve at the pleasure of the committee. So it basically mirrors the council.
We need to take out the annual because they're not doing that, so.
But if we take the annual out, I would like to at
Councilor
least
Perry's going
see,
to file a charter complaint.
I'd like to at least see then with the school, with an election, if they hold an annual, if they hold an election after, if they hold an election after an election, I think that would be more appropriate than just eliminating annually.
The Budget Committee used to elect every election year, so every 2 years. So you were elected for 4, but every 2 years you had a new chair, and because you had half of your committee change.
And that's where I'm going with this, is that this would essentially not afford 2 new school committee electors, to not have a say in their leadership.
Theoretically.
Their practice has been to, after an election, hold their officers' election.
School committee.
I don't agree with
So you should say that. Yeah, if that's what they want to do, then that's what it should say.
That's what I say. This should be amended to either change that language to, what would it be, biannual, or just strike this altogether.
So perhaps a suggestion is that we hold off. They could come back to us Monday night and help us understand. I won't be here, but help those of you who are here understand that why they really think this is necessary.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Because they wanted to take out annual, but maybe it's language like with the change in the board, the school committee.
Yeah, because they also put in who shall serve at the pleasure of, but I don't think anything now prohibits them from having somebody ousted.
Right. Well, so that was going to be my next question. So 2 people take over those unfilled positions, or whatever you want to call it, and they decide amongst themselves they want a leadership change, they could call for an election.
I don't see, and there's nothing that defines annually either.
So, I mean, they're just trying to lock in whoever's there for 2 years and be the chair
For a year, for a year.
Well, if they take out annual.
Oh, if they take out, you're right, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I read this. They just want
I
to
don't
eliminate.
agree with this change.
Well, I would say you probably want to say the school committee shall elect from its members a chairperson, vice chair, and other such officers as they deem appropriate following
Each election.
That it's in stone that every 2 years you're going to get new positions. So potentially,
or
it could be
maybe
the same, but you're at least going to go through the exercise.
Right.
Which they should be doing
Which they have done in practice.
every year now. They should be doing that now, every year.
And that's generally, I mean, one.
But now we have to file a charter complaint against them because they have it done annually.
Why don't we have them come back?
Yeah, I think that's the way. Does that work for you, Madam Clerk? We'll let them
So I
know.
apologize, I'm not used to how this format goes. So it sounds like, to get my question summarized, so are they coming back to you? Or
I think we have to have them come. We have to have this come back on Monday, so we got to figure this out because I think the language itself is not.
The language.
Perfect, all right. So, thank you.
But did that make sense? Why they wanted the change? Because they don't want to have to do.
I wasn't sure who wanted to change it. I was still trying to figure that out. But,
Yeah, it's the school committee that asked for this.
perfect.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, sure.
All right, so we're gonna,
Mr. President,
yes,
so the school committee went to the Charter Review Commission.
and they asked for this, and it came from the Charter Review.
So who do I ask?
I would ask the chair of the school committee. I believe that was who presented this to the Charter Review Commission. We just want to make sure that we get this to align specifically with what practice they're looking for. Or not. And Councilor Perry will file a charter amendment, or charter complaints.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Last item on the public hearing is other ballot items, discussion and vote to approve ballot question for the sale of a parcel of land owned by the town as identified as 0 Poplar Street, designated on map 201, lot 125. This directly relates to the proposed charter change of section 204, transfer of town-owned land. I think this is pretty straightforward, but it is a public hearing. Would any member of the public like to speak about 0 Poplar Street? Any member of the public? Any member of the public?
40 people here right now.
Yes, there are. The crowds are huge. So I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the ballot question that would allow the town council, authorize town council to sell unimproved parcel of land at 0 Poplar Street with the appropriate designation of the map lot number at fair net market value.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Councilor Paul and Councilor Janik. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay, none opposed. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to make a motion to go into closed executive session, Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 42465A2, collective bargaining, discussion related to the potential of reopening negotiations with United Steelworkers, AFL-CIO, CLC on behalf of Local 14845 of the current collective bargaining agreement, which expires on June 30th, 2027. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Janik. Councilor Comito. Yes. Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Janik.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Councilor Paul.
Yes.
Councilor Perry.
Yes.
We are now in closed executive session. The gavel for the good of the order.